thank you for those who are here early in the morning. We're going to run through some quick slides and talk more about some of these topics that we just discussed. Global VC, as you probably are aware, is still extremely robust. Last year was the best year in record, 2018. 2019 is shaping up to be a very good year, but it's going to be slightly down, in particular because the Chinese numbers are lower. And when China goes south, then the overall numbers go south. But in general, there's one ecosystem that's just continuing to power ahead, and that's Israel. It's just absurd when you look at these numbers. And these are the numbers from 2013. We were very lucky at OurCrowd that we started in 2013, and this incredible stair step really got moving at that point. First half of this year, almost $4 billion invested in the Israeli ecosystem, and we're on track to do about $8 billion in total this year. That makes Israel just an absurdly potent venture ecosystem. For example, if you compare Israel to Australia, Australia has a GDP of $1.3 trillion, 25 million people, and their total venture investment for this year will be about 900 million. So Israel at 8 billion, Australia at 900 million, gives you a sense of how potent Israel is. By the way, the entire numbers for Latin America, if you take all of the Latin American continent, this year will be about $2 billion. So Israel about 4 times the size of investment as Latin America. So the people at Davos have named us now the most innovative country in the world. The M&A activity in Israel is going through the roof, and they're now primarily multi-billion-dollar companies which are getting the attention. And this is leading to a large number of corporations and multinationals to set up shop in Israel permanently. And the number now is well over 400, and there are about a new multinational setting up shop in Israel every 2 weeks at the moment. Israel also is quite potent in AI, which we all know is sort of the most sexy and important area in terms of technology. And we're neck and neck with China as number 2 behind the US in terms of total number of artificial intelligence startups. OurCrowd, as I had spoken before, is already sharing quite a large chunk of this ecosystem. We're $1.3 billion in assets. We've made 200 individual company investments like the Beyond Meat, and we have now 19 different funds and investors almost all over the world. We're the most active venture investor in Israel, according to PitchBook, who are here, go ask them. That's the 2nd year running. And our model is unique in that we both enable individual, what Marco called retail, individual wealthy investors who are accredited, together with family offices and institutions. And what we're finding now is more and more institutions are coming our way and saying, you know what, we have a lot more than a couple $1 million, and we'd like to invest many double-digit millions of dollars in venture, and we're having trouble because we don't have a team of 5 or 10 people. We'd like to deploy 20, 30, 40 million dollars, and that family office area really is our sweet spot. So anyone who would like to talk, I'm going to be leaving, unfortunately, on a jet plane, but Andy Kay, who can raise his hand over there, is going to be here today. He's the president of OurCrowd, and would be happy to be meeting with you. Also, I think Johnny Neufeld, who works with him, is here in the audience. The difference on our platform is that it's democratic. The individual at the $10,000 level gets the same treatment, not just as Bill Gates, but as the family offices and whatnot. Our scale is huge. I mean, there are very few venture funds who have 200 companies in their portfolio who are represented all over the world, and we're highly diversified on a multi-vector basis. We are sector agnostic, so we're doing all sectors, all stages, from early to late stage, and now increasingly all geographies. This is becoming very important because people are realizing that if you're not investing in the big companies when they're still private, you're waiting too long. Okay, they're even giving it a name now called the FPO, which is like the last, the final, private offering before the public offering comes. And then there's, of course, the penultimate final offering, which would be the PUFO or PUPO or whatever it is. I don't like that name. But that's from Bloomberg just of a couple of days ago. More important than Bloomberg is what Secretary of the SEC, the chairman of the SEC, Jay Clayton, has been saying. It's like he's been reading our hymnal, and he's basically saying we must democratize access to the venture capital class. The fact that today, when you look at it, there are literally a couple of hundred organizations and wealthy families who control the entire tech finance business is not tenable. We have to open up access to millions of individual investors and hundreds of thousands of institutions and corporations who want a piece of this bonanza, and that's what we're doing. When you look at OurCrowd at any given moment, you're going to see today north of 20 different active funding opportunities. Remember, the difference in a private company is we've got to wait either by leading around or joining around to get you in. You can't just pick up the phone and call your broker and say, buy me this startup when it's a private company. So we have to organize the round, we have to set the price, we have to set the terms. We do that, okay? And then we invite you to join us. And at any given time, there are about 20 companies, and they run the gamut. I'll show you at the end just a quick flash of what some of these companies look like. This is our portfolio in general. It's, again, quite diverse, including drones and ag tech, food tech, cybersecurity, e-commerce, the cloud, you name it. If it's tech-driven, we're investing in it. And we've had tremendous results. We've had actually 35 exits to date, including the Beyond Meat IPO and the Uber IPO. These are some of our M&A transactions over the last year. And at the moment, our portfolio is becoming quite robust in terms of later stage companies. We actually have just crossed 50 companies in our portfolio who have valuations of over $100 million. We just announced 2 weeks ago a major partnership with a large US broker-dealer called Stifel Nicolaus Wiesel, which is number 7 in terms of size in the US, but more importantly, they have 1 million clients and 2,200 financial advisors who for the first time in America are now going to bring to Main Street. Stifel is a St. Louis Midwestern firm, so we're literally going to implement this strategy of democratizing access to venture capital, and we're very, very proud of this. We'll be curating both individual deals with Stifel, fund products, as well as getting their help as an investment bank. They have the biggest research platform in America with our portfolio companies. We also are very proud here to remind friends at NOAH that we've signed a partnership with NOAH to work in Europe together, and we're delighted to be here. We'd like, through NOAH, to again get help with their exceptional investment banking in a boutique and very, very smart way, as well as their connections to family offices across the continent. We have the 19 funds. We mentioned some of them up on stage. Our funds are doing very well. These are some preliminary numbers, but in particular, we have an index fund called the OC50, which allows you to take 50 companies on OurCrowd and put $1,000 to work in each one with a $50,000 minimum investment. And this fund has got tremendous results. They've already had 5 exits. The vintage, by the way, was 2017. And the DPI, or the distribution as a function of paid-in capital, is already 0.23, which is about 4 years ahead of Cambridge Associates' top quartile performance. Our companies are getting great press. We were the lead investor in a company called Halo, which is doing artificial intelligence chips, and they're being rumored to be literally the hottest thing in the AI acceleration area. And we were part of a team that funded the spin-out of Cartica, which is a new automotive company. There were 3 other investors with us: BMW, Toyota, Continental, and OurCrowd. We were the only venture investor invited into this company, and this company, you're going to hear a lot about them coming up. We also have incubators. Right now we run 3 incubators in Israel, getting ready to operate our incubators so we have more, call it farm teams, companies coming into the bigger platform. We have launched our Innovate program for big corporations where we're offering all kinds of building blocks ranging from corporate venture capital as a service to corporations who would like to start making investments but don't have the time or the resources to put hundreds of millions of dollars to work, would like to put tens of millions of dollars to work intelligently. We're doing that. We're providing corporate innovation education together with NYU, and we have a whole department here who provide added value to our portfolio companies, because today, for us to get into these companies, we have to not compete on just a higher valuation. That's stupid, okay? It's on higher added value. How do you help the small companies get bigger quickly? We're signing partnerships with major corporations around the world. Toyota just announced their partnership with us a week ago. We'll be scouting for Toyota all over. And most importantly, we want you to come and join us in Israel, February 13th, to the OurCrowd Summit. There'll be about 20,000 people registered. It's a huge conference. If you haven't been to Israel, haven't been to Startup Nation, you want to check this out. I'm going to leave you with just a couple of minutes, a couple of seconds about what it's like. And we get volume up here a little bit.
For society as a whole, it's very good that we have crazy optimists.
I am convinced that opportunity exists in my country, your country, and every country in the world, and it is our responsibility as creators to showcase this stuff, and your responsibility as investors to invest in this stuff.
Ladies and gentlemen, Professor Abraham Baniel, age 100.
My father says, even today, I operate under the assumption that I am eternal until somebody proves me wrong.
So, and I'm going to leave you in the next 90 seconds with 10 flash companies to give you an idea in just one sector how the power of the crowd can get active in some of the most exciting companies out there. And this is a medical segment of our platform. Alpha Tau is changing the way we fight cancer. In their human trials, 80% of their patients had their solid tumors completely destroyed in 3 days. Using a new kind of radiation, check out Alpha Tau. Barcode Diagnostics is doing personalized chemotherapy by barcoding the chemo candidates, injecting it in you, and then 3 days later doing a biopsy to see which candidate works. It was just published in Nature. BOL Pharma is Israel's largest medical cannabis player. Sales going through the roof, opening up new facilities in Portugal, a big leader, especially in pharma-grade extraction of cannabis oils. BrainQ is using a next generation of electromagnetic healing to literally fuse severed spinal cords and to create an incredible neuro healing path, which is partnered with Google at the moment. DreamMed is working with Medtronic on the world's first truly artificial pancreas. We're co-invested there with Roman Abramovich. Elminda is doing deep neural intervention as well as tracking of concussion as well as Alzheimer's and neural health. HIL Medical is a new proton beam therapy company who is literally taking these $250 million proton beam therapy facilities and turning them into a desktop device. Insightec is the leader in incisionless surgery. They are using focused ultrasound to stop Parkinson's tremor. We participated in a $150 million round of funding with a $12 million check together with the Koch brothers. MetaWare is the first company to have a software solution to stop the opioid crisis, to prevent leakage of opioids at hospitals and individual doctors. Memic is one of the leading flexible robotic surgery platforms, starting in particular on vaginal canal surgeries. It's an extraordinary company. You'll be hearing a lot about Memic. Nanomedic is using an electrostatic gun to spray on artificial skin for burn patients and for wound healing. Pulm One is doing desktop pulmonary testing instead of going into the body box, which looks like a British phone booth. Oh, and this company, as you can see remarkably, RealView, is doing literally real holographic imaging in the operation room, in the OR, where you can actually see the heart in front of you. Rewalk, of course, went public and is the leading company providing paraplegics with the way to walk again. This is an example of what you can do when you unleash the power of the crowd. When you get 40,000, and hopefully with the help of Marco and NOAH, 400,000 or 4 million investors who are breaking into the venture capital asset class, we're not going to get second-rate companies. We're going to get leading companies that are changing the world. We're going to make great returns, and we're going to do good at the same time. Thank you, Marco.
Thank you so much. Always amazing to hear you.